MovieWeb.com.
Sergeant King, I ran over 150 combat missions with no complaint.
It's good to be home.
I'm supposed to be getting out today. Now they're shipping me back to Iraq. And I've just got stop-loss.
Get up, get out, get away from these lies, 'cause they don't get your soul or your fire.
What the hell's happening to these guys?
Listen to me. If you're spooked, it's okay. There's no shame in that.
I ain't scared. I'm pissed off.
It's very rare that we see such a strong platonic friendship in a film. I'm wondering, how important was that for you to get that right for this film? Especially the chemistry between the two actors.
It was incredibly important to get the relationship between Brandon Leonard King and Michelle, played by Ryan Phillippe and Abby Cornish, to get it right. You know, Brandon is best friends with Steve. So they signed up on the buddy program, they run the football team together, they go over to war together, they save one another's lives, they come home. Brandon Leonard King wants to put this behind him, and he ends up getting stop-lost, so he has to go on this road trip. And he ends up with his best friend's girl. It was incredibly important to keep it platonic, simply out of his respect for his best friend. But at the same time, you wanted to make sure that the characters had all the complexity and the nuances of real people. The more real it is, the more moving it is.
We can cease fire for a little while?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
Brandon, you mother...
Now, you guys had real great chemistry on screen. Were you guys friends before you joined this, or was it that bonding in the boot camp kind of thing that gave that?
Yeah, it was. We didn't really know each other at all. We hadn't met, and but you know, it was a really smart thing on Kim's part to put us all together in this isolated, remote place and have us train together for a week. And then after that, it was such a great group of guys. Everybody is from different background and great sense of humor, and so it just kind of went from there. And I think you see it in the film. I think, and it's continued after. You know, that we made this film a year and a half ago. We started, and we all still hang out and still do things together.
What is that?
Makushi.
What's that?
No.
Okay,
Nothing.
okay, close.
Get these guys out.
Okay, good to go.
Yeah, sir, it's just waiting around to get blown up, huh?
Cool. Yo, check this out. Miss, you sent this to me yesterday. Damn, Sarge, your fiance is hot. Appreciate it. She and I will make some cute Tex-Mex babies.
Well, I gotta ask you about your character. How do you perceive that he kept such a sunny deposition after such horrible things happened to him?
What was amazing about working on this film was that Kimberly Peirce, the director, she made it a point for all of us to be around real soldiers from the beginning. And for me, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I had to meet a real-life wounded soldier. And when I met him, you know, I thought off the bat he was going to be angry for his condition, and in actuality, it was the opposite. And I thought that was so brave of him to be, you know. So I just sort of brought that position to the film.
Did you guys get to meet with a lot of the wounded soldiers before you shot that?
Well, I definitely did. I mean, I don't know about these guys, but we met soldiers, you know.
I hung out with soldiers before shooting the movie, during shooting the movie. I talked to one of the guys that we trained at the boot camp yesterday.
Yep, after the movie, and we still got to call Lozano.
Says here you have orders to report to the 1st Brigade.
Not me. I'm getting out today.
Brandon Leonard King,
Yes.
out to the 1st Brigade on the 22nd.
This is a mistake.
It's all there. You leave on the 22nd, shipping back to Iraq. Subsection 12305, Title 10, by the authority of the President. You've been stop-lost.
Well, I gotta ask, how invaluable was your brother's experience and input on the film?
You know, it was really powerful to me that my brother enlisted and that he fought and that my family lived through his deployment in Iraq. I learned a tremendous amount by IMing with him. I learned a lot by looking at my mother and seeing how terrifying it was for her whenever there was a news blackout and we lost contact with him, and she would call me crying. And she would say, you know, you will never know what fear is until you have had a child being shot at in a combat zone. She also said that she was scared to go home at night because she knew that, God forbid, something happened, they would have to tell them in person. So I just learned a tremendous amount simply by being military family. My brother was gracious in that he shared his experiences with me, but there was something profound that happened. We were talking over IM, and he said, you know, I can't really go too deeply into how I feel about things while I'm over here because I'm a professional soldier. I'm paid to fight. And if I think too deeply, I might get killed tonight while on my mission. And that was a very profound thing for me, and it made me naturally kind of back off. And it worked very well because I was interviewing soldiers all over America. So my brother provided part of the insight, but really it was all the soldiers I was interviewing. And I really wanted to tell an emblematic story of this generation. You know, the generation that signed up after 9/11, who wanted to protect their family, their home, and their country, and who went over there willing to risk their lives and formed a band of brothers with one another. And it was all about surviving and coming home safe.
How invaluable was having Kim's brother around?
Incredibly, man, incredibly. You know, he inspired the story from her point of view. She was IMing with him while he was serving in Fallujah, and also my character was inspired by one of his closest friends over there, who was stop-lost. So having Brett around, and also having the other soldiers that we went through boot camp with, and then also Sergeant Major Jim Deaver, who was our tech advisor, and I'd worked with on the Eastwood film also. I mean, it's so important to have that, to keep it real, to keep it grounded, you know.
No, you guys went through boot camp. Did they have you bunked up, like all together in one room the whole time?
A tent, yeah.
Had to hear people snore and...
Oh man, the gas, dude. There was like the bad jokes and gas and country music, and it felt like a real barrack to me, like from what I would think it would be like.
So how good did you guys get at shooting bottles?
Better than I used to be.
Yeah. I mean, did you go through the whole like training of just like what a soldier would go through for this?
Oh yeah, the boot camp was pretty intense. We learned how to fire pistols and rifles as well, and you know, we had respect for the weapons, and even when we finished camp, we went to the range a few times to get a little bit more practice in. I still have a couple target groups back at the crib at home that I kept from Austin at the range.
Of course, it's nothing compared to what real soldiers do. We had a week to cover the material that they learned in like 18 weeks. You know? We were learning how to act in a movie, and I would never compare any of my experience to the real life situation of what a soldier goes through. I've never risked my life for anything, and I don't know what that feels like. I won't claim to.
I just want to add, I mean, I just sort of want to go away from the guns and all that, but the film is really based on relationships and friendships and camaraderie, which I think is important, and I think audience from all different ages, colors, whatever, will relate to the film one way or another.
This feels strange and untrue, and I won't waste a